What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Joy Division. And we're returning to the Substance compilation, 1988. Thank you again to Mr. Solo, as well as to AK and Steve and a couple others who commented on the first reaction to Warsaw, which I now understand was originally the group's name, and eventually they became Joy Division. Multiple people mentioned that there is a stylistic evolution which will take place, so I don't know if that means the first handful of tracks on the compilation will be indicative of their earlier, more raw, even post-punk type sound, and then eventually we'll move more toward the only tune I know from them in advance, which is to say Love Will Tear Us Apart, or that style, I mean. But yes, my understanding, of course, is that New Order grew out of the ashes of Joy Division after Ian Curtis passed away. So yes, I'm just happy to get a prologue to a story in sonic form I've already been following. So yes, the next tune on the compilation is Leaders of Men, which speaks to the general organizational or authority structure of most places in recorded human history, which is to say a small number of individuals, and historically often men, who make decisions for and lead larger groups of people lower down on the socioeconomic and political and religious rungs, and thus the lives and livelihoods of many people are subject to the whims and impulses, and in some cases more reasoned decisions of a small group of people who are the leaders of men. I feel like it's maybe especially used in the context of military or political matters, but I'll see what I can catch on a first listen. This is Joy Division, the track is Leaders of Men, and it's included on the Substance compilation 1988.
Some others wound, just like any other room. Made a promise for a new life, made a victim out of your life. When your time's on the door and you grip to the floor and you feel you can touch, all the noise is too much, and the seas that are sown are no longer your own. Just a minor operation to close the final ultimatum. Thousand words are spoken loud, reason not to fool the crowd. When you walk down the street and the sound that's so sweet, and you wish you could hide, maybe go for a ride to some deep show arcade where the future's not made. A nightmare situation, infiltrate imagination. Spikes of past holy wars, by the war with broken laws. The leaders of men, born out of your frustration. The leaders of men, just a strange infatuation. The leaders of men made a promise for a new life. Savior for our sakes, to crush the entities of hate. Self-induced manipulation, to crush all hopes of our salvation.
Another post-punk, gritty and raw type of tune. I mean, we do hear reference to manipulation and infiltration, so I didn't catch everything, and some of the lyrics seem to be almost like these little vignette duets, meaning like a couple words that have a nice rhyme to them but it doesn't sound like a full, clear narrative. Now, maybe I'm just not getting the way that these lines stitch together, and there is a coherent, like, specific narrative at play. But yeah, it sounds like it's speaking to the way lives do depend on the decisions of the leaders of men, and in some cases maybe they're making such decisions and leading in a way that is less sympathetic and, more oppressive or suppressive. Maybe in other cases people below them are trusting or hoping that their decisions and their leadership will provide some benefits, and there's a degree of trust in that regard. So yeah, ultimately I'd have to listen again, but it feels like it is exploring some of these concepts of authority, decision making in political, social, cultural, religious, or other realms, and the way there is this disconnect between the masses and the leaders of men. So I look forward to seeing people comment. And yeah, someone, I forget exactly who it was, but someone mentioned that at this point, they've only just kind of gotten their instruments and they're really just kind of learning how to play and, how to songwrite and so on. I do feel like this is a tune that I would have enjoyed, when I was getting into punk rock, and, even though that was in the early 90s, I immediately gravitated to punk rock of the early 80s, which has this very gritty, sort of anarcho gutter punk type of sound. And this one has a bit of that raw dissonance and attitude that characterized a lot of groups that I got into in my early days of listening to punk. So yeah, it feels, again, more post-punk than maybe punk per se, but there is a bit of that raw attitude and gritty sound. So ultimately, I do understand, again, that they're going to move away from this, and maybe, as they learn how to integrate their instruments and, songwrite in a way that's beyond the earliest phase, we're going to get a stylistic evolution. So I'm looking forward to that. But either way, a cool tune. Luca agrees. Let me know what you think, and I will see you next time. Peace.